Interior Lifestyle India to know what's next. Impact of pandemic on global markets and domestic market of home textile industry. I'm Priyanka Pawar, Group Exhibition Head of Messe Frankfurt India, and your host for this webinar. While the home textile industry fights to adapt the new normal, geopolitical and unprecedented health conditions, companies are still working to overcome this negative impact. The question is, what is the best way to go about it? Joining us today is Mr. Harminder Sahani, Managing Director, Wazir Advisors. Harminder has worked for over 2 decades as a management consultant in the consumer goods, retail and textile sector. He has advised some of the most reputed companies in India and international on corporate strategy, business creation and diversification. He's also joined by Mr. Prashant Agarwal, Joint Managing Director, Wazir Advisors. Prashant has an extensive experience of 26 years in various corporate strategy, business creation, diversification, and performance enhancement. Assignments in the textile apparel, retail for Indian and international market. He's a textile graduate from the Technological Institute of Bhiwani and MBA from IMS Indore. Along with them, we have Mr. Varun Vaid, Associate Director, Wazir Advisors. Varun possesses a total experience of about 18 years in the textile and apparel sector. His key areas to focus include business strategy, market entry strategy, value chain mapping, policy formulation, inputs, and techno-economic viability assessment. I hand over this discussion to Prashant, and thank you, and take it forward from here. Prashant, you're on mute. Prashant, you're on mute.
Thanks, Priyanka, and thanks, Messe Frankfurt India, for giving this opportunity to really connect with so many industrialists and entrepreneurs and people who are part of this industry. For us as Wazir Advisors, home textile industry is as a segment is very important. We have worked as a part of retail, helping brands build up in this area, improving efficiency, productivity, also on larger gamut of operations in this industry. So we actually work very deeply for this industry. And when after the last webinar, we discussed about home textiles, in the meantime, we have talked to a lot of international buyers, Indian buyers, manufacturers, and come out with the projections which are right for Indian domestic market and exports for international market. And also we have tried to see that what is the way forward for home textile industry. So with this, I think whatever we are presenting with a focus on home textiles will be very interesting to all the audience today. Let's have a presentation for almost 30-35 minutes, and then we can have Q&A, which will be joined by all three of us. We'll try to answer to best of our knowledge, and let's make this discussion very interesting. So, Priyanka, can we start with the presentation?
Absolutely, we can start. Just before that, all the participants can continue their chat in the chat box. While if they have any specific questions, please post that in the Q&A section and we will be noting it down to ask you later. Is that fine? Okay, let's go. Let's get rolling.
Yeah, Varun, let's upload the presentation and get it started, and we can, whatever different slides we can come in. Yeah.
Sure. Priyanka, I think you need to enable the share screen. Priyanka, you there?
Yeah, just doing it. 1 second.
Yeah.
Varun, it's available. You can do it.
It's still not happening. It's yeah.
Good.
Okay. So good evening, everyone. I believe my screen should be visible to everyone, and my voice is clear. Yep. So what today we will be discussing is about the impact of COVID-19 disease on the shrinkage of the home textile market in India, basically home textile industry in India. What we are saying is that we are expecting that the Indian home textile industry will shrink about 25%. So in the next few slides, we'll be discussing when we say 25%, what is the logic behind it, where it is coming from. So what we'll be covering basically is very briefly, we'll be covering 3 points. One is the domestic market scenario. how the domestic market is building up and what will be the impact on the industry. And the second component is home textile exports, which is a big component out of the country in home textiles arena. And finally, we'll be summarizing everything and we'll be discussing about the way forwards for the Indian textile and apparel industry. Moving on to the home domestic market scenario, we know that we are already near the 40-day national lockdown being over up by 3rd of May. That is the projection. From 30th Jan, since the first COVID case were reported in India, we have come a long way. From 22nd March, we have been under almost a situation of a lockdown. From 24th, it was formally declared, the nationwide lockdown was declared. And everybody is looking forward to 3rd May, while it has already been told that it will not be over in red zone. So what we are expecting best is that on 3rd of May, it will start, the relaxation will start coming in a staggered manner. So that's the kind of a scenario of lockdown. On the GDP aspect, so one is the lockdown, the other is on the economy side of the country. So we were having a very bad few years since 2017. Our economy was continuously going down from 7% GDP growth. We had come down to 4.2% in 2019, and 2020 was the year when it was said that the Indian economy will recover in a good manner. But unfortunately, due to this COVID situation, now the situation is completely reversed. The latest projections done by India Ratings as well as Nomura are saying that instead of growing, our GDP will actually shrink. While there are other projections also available which are saying that we may grow up to still up to 2%, but the point is that the growth rate has been totally derailed for the time being. So what is going to impact the consumption of home textiles in the country? So there are 3 basic factors. One is the duration of lockdown. We've discussed that we are looking forward to 3rd May, what decision may come. So that's going to be the first part. Second is the pace of market recovery. And third is the demand seasonality of the product that we are talking about. So we'll take one by one all these 3 factors. In duration of lockdown, we have actually projected 3 scenarios. 3 scenarios. First of all, we are expecting, as we are saying that by 3rd May, let's hope that lockdown is over, which is kind of scenario we will calling it LD40. So this scenario, if it happens that by 40th day, the markets open, so then the expected consumer response to lockdown will be Jaan bachi to lakho bhai. That basically we are happy to be alive. Fine, whatever happened. 40 days are over now. Let's go and get on with our life. So that will be a very optimistic scenario. The second scenario will be the case where the lockdown is further extended to 30 days and we enter into what we call as LD70. In this scenario, when the consumer will come out of the lockdown, he will think that Jaan hai to jahan hai. Thank God I am alive and I have a job. So the situation will be realistic. It will be not too optimistic. But the third scenario, which is the most pessimistic scenario, is that further 30-day extension, which we enter into, it will be LD100, in which the consumer will, at the end of it, will feel that it is as good as dead. So Jaan hi nikal gayi. So from Jaan bachi to lakho bhai, the scenario is you can go to Jaan hai to jahan, and then finally Jaan nikal gayi. So these are the 3 scenarios which we have built upon for understanding how the markets will change in these 3 scenarios. One more important point here to understand is that longer the lockdown, slower will be the recovery. If it is only 40 days, then we're expecting that in the next 30 days, within a month, there'll be a recovery period and the normal sales will at least to 60 to 70% of the normal sales will be recovered. So the total impact period will be 70 days. But if there are 30 more days add to it onto the lockdown, so if we enter into LD70, instead of 30 days, we will require 45 days to further reach to the 60 to 70% of normal sales. So that's almost like 4 months of the total time period which will be lost in LD70. And if unfortunately we go into LD100 case, so after 100 days we'll require again 75 days, that more than 2 months, 2.5 months will be required to regain the 60 to 70% of normal sales. So that the total impact period is going to be 175 days. So what will happen here is that recovery pace, one is the lockdown period, the other is that recovery pace will also vary across segments, depending on the 3 aspects: the utility of the product, the durability of the product, and its unit cost. The recovery will be different in different consumer sectors. So if the unit cost is not too high, and if there is a requirement to very frequently change it, or if it is not durable, then the recovery will be faster. For example, in categories like apparel and home textiles, we are expecting that the recovery will be faster compared to the sectors, for example, in consumer durables and electronics, and even 2-wheelers and cars, which are not required on a daily, it's not a very kind of essential good, and the unit cost is also very high. So the pace of recovery in our segment, fortunately, we are expecting it to be a bit higher than the consumer durables. While on the seasonality, I would like Harminder also to pitch in here and talk about how seasonality will have different impact across the segments. Harminder, if you can please.
Yeah, Varun. See, how, since we were looking at the impact that how it's going to happen. So in general, looking at the economy, people are projecting it will, now some people are actually saying that it will shrink. Mr. Arvind Subramanian, actually ex-economic advisor, is going down to the extent of saying it will shrink also. But when we are looking at our industry, we need to go down to a little bit of micro level. So one, like we discussed, that there will be pace will be different, but impact also will differ. If you look at the Q3, generally is the best quarter for most of the companies, most of the product categories, right? All across, because we have weddings, we have festivals all across India happening at that point of time. That's what happens. But if you look at consumer electronics, the Q1 also for them is a green, right? Because during this time, the air conditioning, the coolers, fans, right? Many of these product categories, refrigerators, they have their peak season in Q1, and Q1 is when the lockdown is going on. So that means they will have a far bigger impact on their overall sales, because there were larger amount of sale which was supposed to come during this period will not happen. And if it is LD 70 or 100 kind of situation, that means the complete season will be wiped out. Thankfully, in case of home textiles, we are sitting in the summer season when festivals and everything is way beyond. If we get out of this lockdown at LD 40, even if we partially start coming out, chances are that our season will be saved and we'll be able to recover most of the sale which we would have done in this year, rather than losing more like it will happen in case of the four bottom categories, where the first quarter also be reasonably, either it's one of the highest levels or at the normal level. For us, it's a low season. Because of that, probably we can still recover more of our sales. Will depend on how the scenario opens out, whether we go to 70 or 100 or not. We will know very soon. Varun?
Yeah. So beyond this, when we are saying one is the seasonality, the other is the recovery pace of the, but depending on the product category. But within the category also, if you look at home textile categories, the products which have better high utility, and there are products which are not required to be changed on a daily basis. For example, curtains and upholstery will be at the will be at the furthest end of the spectrum, whereas the product like terry towel and bedsheets are the segments which are expected to recover far better than the other categories, which are kind of a discretionary items. Terry towels and bed linens will also see a kind of a splurge in the expenditure by consumer, because they are the products which are directly touching the skin on a very regular basis. So people would be looking to change them faster compared to the other products, blankets, table linens, and curtains and upholsteries. So, and another point is that also within an end user segment wise, also who is going to use this segment, also the recovery will be different. So basically home textiles, if we talk in broad terms, there are three segments. Three H's are there: healthcare, household, and hospitality. So these are the three end user segment, largest end user segments which are using home textiles. So we're expecting that healthcare, because of the high funding, high focus on this sector right now, will be requiring home textiles a lot. There'll be a lot of replacement which will happen in healthcare sector. So any demand or anybody who's catering to healthcare sector is expected to fare far better than the other segments. So that's the first point. On the other end of the spectrum is hospitality. Hospitality, as we know, is one of the worst hit sectors as of now. And not many people are going to be using the services. No more tourism, etc. will be remaining subdued for foreseen future. So hospitality sector will be the one. They are big users of bed sheets, towel linen, bed linen, etc. But the point is that the recovery will be very, very low in the hospitality, and household will sit in the middle of segment, where we are talking about that bed linen and bath linen may recover faster, but the other segments, home furnishing, etc., may not be recovering too soon. So depending on the the quarterly consumption that Harminder had just spoken about, and depending on the different consumer perceptions for different products, we have plotted down how the consumption on a monthly basis will vary. So starting from April 20, we see that almost negligible sales are happening right now in the home textile category. So in May, when we are saying that LD 40 comes into play, so the light green bar is where we are saying that because of this recovery, it will start at 40%, and the recovery period will be 30 days. And by June, within June to July, 60 to 70% of the sales will be recovered. The second scenario, LD 70, kicks in from June 20, wherein the consumption will begin at 50%, but it will take a longer period to recover. And the last scenario, LD 100, which is the most pessimistic scenario, there people will enter at 40% consumption level, and maybe not even till March of the next year, the recovery will not be there. So that's going to be the total projection for on a month-to-month basis. And if we kind of summarize everything and take an average, so what comes out is that in LD40, we are expecting that the total consumption will be to an extent of 84% out of, if the normal consumption was 100, under LD40 it will be 84%. And in LD70, we'll be having a consumption around 72%, and LD100, which is the worst scenario, will be only having 57% of the consumption. So when the consumption is there, how much retail will be impacted? That's what we have just pictured here. The total market size of home textiles in India, in terms of rupees crore, is 47,000. So if LD40 comes to be true, so we'll be looking at a total shrinkage of 16% of the market size, and only 39,500 crores of the retail sales, home textile retail sales, will happen this year. And for the last scenario, LD100, where we're expecting that 43% will be market will be down, then the sales, retail sales, will be only 27,000 rupees crores. So, but the point is that this is all at retail sales. What does it mean for the factory, which is kind of only the production centers? So if you look at the value of production, it will be reduced proportionately. The value of production in FY20 was 23,500 crore. We expect it to come down to 19,750 crores in LD40 and 17,000 crores in LD70 scenario, and the last is 13,500 crores. So broadly speaking, it's a kind of a shrinkage of 16 to 43% in the domestic market. So that's the domestic scenario. We'll be moving on to the exports part of the presentation, but before that, I think Priyanka has a very small survey for
Yes.
all the participants. So Priyanka, if you could just please.
Yes, let's take a poll right now.
Yeah.
So which region do you primarily operate in? You can choose multiple if you're doing 2-3 countries.
This is for us to understand which are the countries for exporters, which are the countries that they target largely.
Yes. We can share the results now. So America and Europe and Middle East, I think. Okay, can we also take another poll where I really want to understand which industry you belong to, which product category you belong to, the audience that we are holding here right now today. Again, you can choose multiple if you're doing 2-3 product categories. Thank you. Now we can share the results. Oh, furnishings. Over to you, Varun. Go ahead. Okay. So now you fairly know which sector is present today with us.
Yeah. So the thing is that after looking at the poll results, we are actually have a very decent sample size, because just after this one, what we are talking about is that two major factors will impact the global home textiles trade. One is the duration of lockdown in key markets, and second is the economic situation there. So for key markets, we had selected US and EU, which are the key markets that account for 70% of the global home textile imports. And also 75% of Indian home textile exports are to these two markets. So it is very heartening to see that we have a cross section of the same represent almost highest numbers. I think it was around 54%, which came for US and EU both. So these are the two markets for India. Very important, 75% is there. So we have analyzed how the lockdown situation is changing in these two key markets, and what is the economic situation in these markets again. Similar to India, we know that in US and Europe, everything is under, because people are from industry, so they would already know about it, that since mid of March to beginning of April, almost all countries went under lockdown. And based on the projections which are there, it is expected that they will start opening from very soon, from first week of June. And even we have just recently read that Spain is planning a program. They've already started relaxation to in a phase-wise manner. So by July, we are expecting that June and July will be the period where most of the markets will open. So net in net, what we are saying is that stores in the US and Europe will remain closed for 3 to 4 months. And on the GDP side, both the regions are doing very, very, very bad in terms of the various projections which are there. IMF just recently revised its projections, saying that EU economy will shrink by 7%, while US will go down by 6%. There are different cases which are there, but broad level is, you can say that 4 to 6% is the minimum expected shrinkage in both the regions. So those are the two key factors which will impact the recovery in these markets. One more very important point here to understand, the key difference between EU and US market is the type of consumer which is there in USA as well as in EU. So US consumer are not only younger but are affluent also. So if you look on the chart on the left side, we have projected how the age-wise population split is there. So we can see that US under 15-year population in US is 18%, while that in Europe is 16%, 2 percentage point lower. And from 15 to 49 years, we see that again US is a higher population percentage of 46% and EU is 44%. While on the age population, more than 50 years population, EU is on the higher side, 40% share is there. So that's the one reason. The other is on the per capita GDP also. So US GDP is almost, per capita GDP is almost $63,000, while EU is around $36,000. So not only because of the age gap, the younger population, not because of affluency also, but another point is that US consumer is not conservative like EU compared to EU. It's the consumer in US is more of a compulsive in nature, and the recovery thus what we expect in US will be faster than EU. So two very important points, a couple of very important points on the outlook of global home textile consumption. So Harminder, if you could just take these slides here.
So, see, first thing, let's say these three H sectors which we are talking about, household, hospitality, and healthcare. My view very clearly is that for the home textile sector, barring probably upholstery and let's say curtains, whether it's bath linen or whether it's bed linen, I personally feel that outlook is going to be positive only because we are dealing with the hygiene as a sector, right? So while we are falling under a consumer product category, but we are definitely in the hygiene sector. So let's talk about these sectors one by one, right? So if we talk about, let's say, healthcare sector, obviously there's going to be far more demand for better, or let's say protected, antimicrobial, antiviral, those kind of bed linen, as well as towels, as well as hand wipes, etc., whatever you call it, right? So there's going to be far bigger demand for that. And there'll be some medical textile also which will come into play. And I'm not even talking about mask and all those or overalls, other things. I'm only talking home textile or soft linen here. So I think there's going to be far by anybody who can produce a better product and give it at the right price and a assured certified product. I think they will have a far better business going forward. We talk about household second. So one in the household's case, yes, definitely hygiene product, but there is a large number of, if we talk about Indian consumer market, large number of households where people generally share towels. But going forward, chances are that there will be a certain segment, because all of us used to share towels at one point of time. We became richer, became more educated, became more concerned about hygiene, and everybody uses their own towel, right? But there's a very large population in India where they may be sharing towels today, and then it will become, okay, I want to have my own towel, and so number of towels being asked for consumed will become much more. Similarly, value-added bed linen, there will be a far bigger demand which will come from there. And then now let's talk about the hospitality sector, which as of today, when you look at it, it looks like there should be the most hit, because first thing is that a lot of people are not traveling, and a lot of people are obviously for business or tourism, everything is stopped. But my optimism is that once the markets open up, once the lockdowns are down, maybe it's another 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, it will go out. We can't be sitting at home. All of us will be traveling again. All of us will be going out. Probably once that assurance is given that it's okay to travel, I think people will be definitely be willing to come back to normal, or maybe more than that, right? So that part we'll have to assume that assurance and the protection and hygienical conditions will come back. Otherwise, trains will never run, flights will never run, we'll never go to a wedding, we'll never go to a concert, we'll never go to office. It's not going to happen. It's going to change. But because we will be concerned about the hygiene, we'll need much more. So in the hospitality sector, we believe there are 2-3 things which will happen, actions which will be taken. That some of the hotel chains, which are at the premium end, they'll actually say that we don't even reuse the towels or bed linen. This is the set used for every customer and you can take it along, right? This is what will happen in case of hospitality. So on one side, right now it's all zero and looks like everything is shut. But the moment hospitality sector open, I think there could be a far bigger demand for home textile towels and bed linen specifically from that sector. Some hotel chains will say that we have a better antimicrobial stuff and treated stuff and we wash it very well and all of that. And we throw it away more often than earlier, because earlier they must have, nobody mentions that how many times the towel is being used or bedsheet, how long it is used in the, but they will start advertising that every month we change the whole bed linen or every 3 months we change all the towels or something like that. That means there will be more consumption which will come in. Now next will be, there will be people, smaller hotel chains who will say that bring your own, we don't give any towels, you bring your own. So now if people have to have another set of towels for travel alone, obviously they will be buying more, right? Or they will tell customers that you can buy it when you are here. It's a disposable towel or it's a towel which is not of that quality that you can use it for month, but you can use it for next few washes. There will be a much more sale. So my point is the hospitality sector, which looks like the most hit and probably being projected as the one going to be hit for long. Once it comes back, I think this is going to, at least for our segment, the industry which we are talking about today, I think it will bring far bigger business in future. Product quality will change, product specifications will change, product elements will change, right? Product pricing may change, right? But you have to see the business from that point of view, and then definitely you'll be able to get a far better business in this. Right. Yeah, one next slide, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Arminder. So just like what we did, plotted the consumption, monthly consumption in Indian market. So similar exercise we've done for EU and US market also. So again, here, when we are saying that when the countries went into lockdown, there was again a kind of a reduction that started happening. And for the 4 months wherein there's a complete lockdown, the consumption has already gone down, will be there like only 20% of the normal 100. Instead of 100%, the consumer consumption will be only 20%. By the time the market starts coming up, opening up, the lockdown is ending in the July. So from August, the market recovery will start happening. And we see, what we are projecting is that US definitely, as we discussed, will recover faster than the EU market. So all in all, the average consumption, if it again take the averages, comes that in US market, the consumption will be at a 65% level. So the market reduction will be 35%. And EU, the consumption will be a bit lower, 60% of the normal consumption, and the market reduction hence will be 40%. So putting them in numbers in terms of the home textile imports, if 40% decline or 35% decline is there in the EU and US market. So what does it mean? In 2019, these both regions were importing almost 26 billion worth of home textile items. So now if it goes down from 26 billion, 35% decline in US and 40% decline in EU would mean that there will be, the total import will be restricted to around 16 billion only. So that's almost $10 billion home textile imports loss that is expected in 2020. So what will happen if $10 billion of business is going to be vanished? Who will gain? Who will lose? So we have just tried to put everything in perspective, that what is going to happen in the sourcing scenario. So we already know that China's share in global markets is reducing continuously by 1 or 2 percentage points in terms of share every year. While the business might not be going down because the markets are growing, but its share is reducing continuously from 1 percentage point, 2 percentage point in US and Europe market both. So we expect that in the first scenario that China will continue, or the share loss will accelerate this year and China will lose market share. In first scenario, we are saying that the competing countries of India, the competitors like Pakistan and Turkey, which are very, very cost competitive, which have a far different kind of a product segment, will appear as the biggest gainers. In scenario 2, we are saying that India also gains some of the market share, which is lost by, which is vacated by China. And in third scenario, we say that China may not lose the share because it again has the capacity to reduce its prices and retain the market share which is just there. In scenario 2, where we are saying that India gains some market share, it is very important to point out here that India is a very strong player in home textile segment globally. Unlike the other segments, even for apparel also, we are not that very strong. But that strength is also there's an upper limit to it. We already have a major share in certain categories like cotton, bed linen in US market. So increasing from a share of 60%, 65% to further 5%, 10% is not going to be very easy, because the other competing countries of Turkey, China, Pakistan, they operate in a different segment altogether. For example, in bedsheet we talk about, we are very competitive in higher TC segments, while Pakistan operates in a different segment and China operates in a different price segment. So to take share out of Pakistan and China would require our exporters to bring that kind of a competitiveness in the other segments also. So that can only happen that on one hand we focus on improving our competitiveness in core categories and also focus on the product diversification. So that's the key requirement of scenario 2 to happen, which we see is a likely situation. So we have just put everything into numbers. So for example, the total exports of India in home textile segment in 2019 calendar year was $4.1 billion. We expect that in scenario 1, where China loses share, but India is not able to gain. Let's talk about actually scenario 2, where we're saying that India is able to gain. We expect that while the markets are falling to an extent of 30 to 40%, we might be able to arrest our fall to only 22% on an average basis. And in USA, we will be doing, instead of $2.2 billion, we'll be doing a business of $1.75 billion. So we've done a detailed analysis of the categories. We are not showing it here, but if somebody wants, they can discuss it offline also. So the market fall will be 35% in US overall, but we will be at 20% less only, business only. So that is the most likely situation wherein we will be increasing our market share in USA as well as in EU. But on the other hand, if we go into a pessimistic situation where India loses share and China loses share and India is not able to gain, then we will be somewhere stuck around $2.4 billion. That's a kind of a almost 45% exports loss that can happen. So all in all, there is a chance that from 22% to 36%, that's the most likely situation we will be in. So coming to the summary and the way forward, the last section, I would request Prashant if you can please take this section up.
Yeah. Thank you, Varun, for taking through all the numbers and presentation and really giving good insight. Let me come to this summary part where we are saying Indian home textile industry is likely to shrink by 25%. So if you see the most likely scenario from, if we are projecting here both domestic and exports. Indian domestic market is around 3.1 and export is around $4.1 billion. So if you see from that perspective, most likely we are losing by 25, $1.8 billion trade is lost in most likely scenario, which is LD 70, which we are saying. And India will gain with some of the share which is vacated by China. So let's hope that in current situation, if we come out with this most likely scenario, we should be better off and should be happy to move forward from there. Next one. So I think after all this, the way forward, the emerging trends, this is very, very important for all of us to really understand, because all of this we are talking about to really understand that what should we do in this scenario. We know there is a market loss. We know we'll lose some business, but what are the trends? Can we gain some of the lost business? Can we bring ourselves back to shape and start moving ahead? So for this, it's important to understand trends and way forward. And some of the main 4 trends, we have divided into 4 major trends. One is consumer trends, where Harminder has explained, Varun has explained that health, hygiene and safety is the top concern of the consumer. So we have to see that how our products are aligned to these trends, how we really focus on that kind of value addition. More online presence. Every retailer is talking about internationally that how do we go online so that when consumer comes to buy, it's a marketplace. So when consumer comes to buy, he has an option to buy offline and online. But if he wants to buy online, we are all present. We don't want to miss any opportunity. So that is where all retailers are working, cutting down on discretionary expenditure. So where, some segments where he is trying to cut down on discretionary expenditure, we have to see that what value add we can give so that he brings us a normal consumption, non-normal spending that he's doing. So I think this is some of the consumer trends we have to focus on. Retail trend, we are talking about rapid growth of e-commerce, direct to consumer brands, and important is from fast fashion to slow fashion. This is also what a lot of retailers are talking about. Instead of trying to change trend every 2 months, try to bring what consumer needs and let it stay for some time. So if they have already built certain inventory, instead of saying new season, new products, let's see that whatever we have built is sold till September at maximum price points instead of being on sale. So that is one more retail trend which all of the retailers are talking about. Beyond consumer trends and retail trends, I think very important for all manufacturers who are today on call, the sourcing trend. And I think these three things have been talked about a lot. One important part is that we are saying there'll be an investment shift. So when sourcing trend, we are saying factories might relocate from China to other countries. So whether Japanese who have already announced, Europeans who are talking about, but again, when we are prepared to take those investments, whether as a facility available to invest or somebody who is ready to come forward and join hands for partnerships, we have to see. These are some of the trends which are going to happen. Second, buyers in terms of sourcing, while there's a sourcing shift which has been happening for last 3 years, but buyers today will have more inclination to support, maybe may not necessarily be on price points, but they will accommodate sometimes on the scale. How do you actually integrate with other suppliers and being able to supply? So there might be some relaxation in some of the sourcing, the ways they have been sourcing. So I think we should focus on where, just an example of Ethiopia, where all the buyers are opening their office. They know they are not competitive in terms of productivity, efficiency. They have issues of foreign currency, but they are still opening office because they have identified this is a future investment destination. So similarly, they will have patience to develop some other destinations through investments, through sourcing, and through technological collaborations. I think these are some of the trends which are very, very important for us to latch on. The last one trend is product trends, where we are talking about, we have again and again explained, antimicrobial finish, disposable but circular products, sustainability. So all what is to be thought, what newness we can bring to our product so that consumer comes to us and buy even if he has a product in hand. I think this is what these 4 trends we have to really focus and move forward for our strategies in future. Next one. And as a manufacturer, when we are saying we have understood on the trends part, let's say that what we can do in our manufacturing areas, whether in terms of product, market, or productivity and efficiency. And there are 4 segments clearly. One is, how do we increase our share in core categories? Second, how do we go for product diversification? Third, export market diversification. Fourth, business consolidation with existing buyers. I think we are just explaining these 4 trends more in detail so that people can really focus out of these trends what is relevant to us and move forward. So if you talk about first trend, manufacturing excellence, and we as Wazir also has worked with a lot of players where we see that there are a huge gap in productivity and efficiency, which actually can bring our cost competitiveness. And today's time, when we are saying give more value addition to the customer at the same price, you have to bring down cost somewhere. So definitely we have to improve our productivity and cost competitiveness. Some of the areas, imagine like these areas where cotton, terry towel, bed linen, printed bed linen, rugs and of cotton, and furnishing articles of cotton. We have a share of 37, 58, 39. So a share, having a global market share in trade of 30% to 60% is a huge share. Anything, because for example, as Varun was explaining in cotton bed linen, to take some share from China and Pakistan, who has 20% and 14% share vis-a-vis India's of 58, we have to really target the categories where they are strong at and they are competitive by at least 10% than us. So can we improve by 10%? Then only, because otherwise in home textile categories, we have bigger players, we are very competitive. Unless until we improve our competitiveness, we can't target product categories where we have already 58, 60% share. So I think this is again important point for share of to how do we increase our share in core categories. first is manufacturing excellence, cost competitiveness. Second becomes, Varun, let's move to next slide. Second becomes, we are saying three-way virtual integration. What happens is, we have a yarn player, a fabric player, and a garment player. We talk to each other on a transaction basis. So a fabric player will place orders to yarn, made-ups will place orders to fabric, while in this industry, for fabric and garments, people or made-ups people are very much integrated. But still, if we lack somewhere in terms of being able to supply finished product, then can we partner with some players outside who can supply to us? Or if we want more options for different finishes in fabric, can we collaborate with the right player to give us those finishes? Can we bring more variety in fabric? So this is only possible when we are talking about cost competitiveness. One is productivity efficiency, second is collaboration within the value chain. I think nothing is possible without doing this. And this is the new way to counter the scale which China has. While India also in this industry, a big scale is there, but there are smaller players also. So those smaller players have to really partner together, and even bigger players have to see wherever their strengths are not there, and they partner together to deliver the new products and new categories. Next, Varun. We talk about value-added products. I think this we have already talked a lot. Health, hygiene, and safety. This is very, very important for home textiles segment, particularly across all the products, whether it's antimicrobial, antivirus, strong demand for healthcare sector, multi-billion opportunities which can be catered at the highest level of quality and product specifications. I think all three, from value addition, productivity efficiency, and virtual integration, these in core categories, and I'm talking about the categories we are strong at. If we do all these three of those, we don't have option of any one of them. If we do all three of it, I think that's the only way forward for us. That's the first area. The second area we are talking about, let's move to the next slide. Product diversification. And I wanted, while we talk about product diversification, I wanted to show some numbers here. If you see, while earlier 5 categories we are strong, we had a share of 30 to 60%. Here, the categories which are big, $1 billion plus or $400, $500 billion, where India's share is 1%, 2%, 3%. So can we really see that out of these categories where market is present, world wants to move from China, where China is 95%, 80%, these kind of shares, can we take some of the shares? Can we put up those capacities? Clearly blankets, woven curtains, knitted bed linen. So these are printed bed linen, MMF table linen. So these are categories, markets are big and we have no share. Can we expand into these categories? Which is what we say product diversification. Then export market diversification. That's again, if you see Japan market, it's almost a $3 billion imports they do. India supplies for $42 million, 1.4% share, where we have very good connect. Japanese want what? They want consistent quality and timely delivery. Can we give this? And once they join hands with you, they will be there for years, decades with you. So can we target these markets as a new category, new products, new markets in the same categories that we are present and gain market share? I think that's a key, whether Japan, Canada, Australia, Mexico, Switzerland, Republic of Korea. So I think these are markets that we have identified, see how much import, because the numbers show that there's a market. How to capture is what we have to plan. And the last part, the fourth point is business consolidation with existing buyers. We have all the retail brands who are present here, from IKEA to M&S, H&M, Zara. So how can we supply? How can we take more share of their global sourcing? They are the players. And the biggest advantage with India is that these players have their domestic retail outlets also, and more will open because there's a huge domestic market and you have an export opportunity. So they need to source from outside and bring into India. So they would prefer that how much sourcing we can done within India. So I think having more share is the first and most important point, one of the important points for us. So these are the 4 important points and trends. I think this is briefly what we wanted to talk about in our presentation. I will be open to Q&A. We have talked about for both exports and domestic and what needs to be done. With this, we are open, and Priyanka, you must have got a lot of questions. We we are open to Q&A, and let's move forward from that.
Yes, Prashant, thank you so much. We've got really a lot of questions, and here I'm going to shoot them to you. I think let's start with the domestic market first. Considering there are a lot of furnishing guys present here, there are a couple of and quite obvious questions. One is the season is coming, Diwali season is coming up. What will be, just 1 second. How do you see the loss or the gain around the season? What is going to be the impact of this for the Diwali season coming up for the domestic market?
See, like we said that if it is LD40, then we believe our Diwali season as well as the, let's say, the winter wedding season is safe. But if we go to LD100, that's where the impact will really start coming in. Because one is 100 days of lockdown and another couple of months or more of recovery. What will happen is that this is unprecedented. So while in India, normally people say, whatever may happen, everybody gets married and everybody gets married on time. But this is unprecedented, which has not happened in 100 years. So if the lockdown goes on for 100 days, right, and after that recovery takes time. So this year, even the wedding season may get postponed to next year because lots of people will say that let's do it next year rather than this year. So it's not only about, let's say, because of social distancing or restriction on gathering, there will be less consumption or less shopping. I think there could be complete postponement of weddings in large numbers. That can happen, but that's the LD100 scenario. That's where we are saying the loss of market could be upwards of 40%, right? But if it is LD40, then we are saying 16-18% loss of the market, taking into account that there is some loss which has happened in this season and what will happen going forward, but most will get recovered. One thing which I wanted to say that in India, the losses compared to many other markets will be much lesser, primarily because of this, because Indians buy basically for two reasons. One is need, second is occasion, right? So the need part is that we really, really need something. It has worn out, I don't have it, I have to replace it. That's only when we buy, right? And this is the very, very large percentage of India's population which does it. Forget about the few urban centers where people buy on, let's say, impulse, or sometimes they buy only because of fashion. Most of the people buy on need. Second is occasion. So need is there and it will still be there. It is not going away. So that much will be purchased. In terms of, let's say, when it comes to occasion. So like I said, that if the occasion part, the season part doesn't get hit, and up to 40-50 days of lockdown, I'm hoping that it will be safe. Then we will be all right. Otherwise, obviously, we are going to get into a far bigger mess for this year. But I don't want people to take this very pessimistically, because whatever we are talking about this year. We are not saying that Indian market is going through a reset, that the market which was 100 will go down to 70 and it will grow from 70 onwards next year. No. If we are able to get through with this financial year, with this hit also, next year when we come back, or next year we talk about, right, I think we'll be starting at a much higher level, right? It's not that we'll start from 70 and say that now 10% growth and now 5% growth. No. We'll come back to 100 in that year, definitely. If we are not, then I think it's a far larger issue we are dealing with, because then the world is at peril. And this has not ended and it has widespread and it's still going on, the virus, then we can't talk about any projections. But only if we are looking at these three scenarios, I'm saying even in the worst case scenario with LD100, next financial year, I think will be as good as last financial year, if not better.
Thank you so much, Harminder. So what do you think is the future of furnishing fabric industry in regards to online presence, especially in India? Will it be effective in generating sales through e-commerce in India?
See, two things. One is that when we talk about online, offline, it is clearly to do with the consumption. These two are different channels, right? So what happens is that, let's say we always have this option of buying something in most of the cities, that you could always make a phone call and get your neighborhood kirana store to deliver some of the grocery, right? You always have that option, right? But not that you always are ordering only. Today it could be different because now the situation has changed. So you are ordering most of your stuff on the phone and getting it delivered. But that channel was always there, but we're using both the channels. So same is true about online, offline also, that both the channels will exist, right? Online will be able to get more share in such times, and even going forward when there is a social distancing and everything is there, maybe the trend towards online will only accelerate. I don't think it's going to completely shift. More so in categories, when we are talking about our categories in which we are talking, home furnishing versus upholstery and curtains, if we talk about, I think most of Indians replenish, or let's say replace, their home furnishing over years, right? Even the curtains last for many, many years in our homes. So I think that shopping is generally considered as if you are doing a capital expenditure, or if you are buying a consumer durable or a consumer electronics item, it is treated like that. So most of the consumer love to go when they're spending few thousands of rupees, and which they spend only once in a few years, they prefer to go to physical store and buy from there. Most of the Indians. But like I rightly said, that there is a shift towards online in every category. This category will also happen. There are young couples, there are young households, there are urban households who are time poor, or who have many other things to do with their time, right? And they love the convenience of shopping online, as long as there are many other services like this. Like Amazon offers this service in US, not in India, that any product which you are buying, you switch on your phone's camera, and on Amazon site on your phone, you can see that how that product will look inside your room. Right? You can place it on the table, you can place it on the wardrobe, you can hang it on the wall. You can actually see it live, the product you have selected on Amazon site. If home textiles also, furnishing also, people are able to help people do this online, there are services available, but not as convenient or as good looking as they should be. But if it is done, there will be a market which would like to shift towards that. And then the range which can be offered, the price benefit if it can be offered. So why not? It will happen. And once that channel is there, then yes, people will use it, sometimes offline, sometimes online, depending on the context of that point of time.
Perfect.
But one should build business towards online. One should use digital channels in every single category, including home textiles and furnishing.
So you recommend that there should be online and offline present?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, what do you think? How should they handle if Gujarat and Mumbai continues to be in LD 100 and the rest of the India in LD 40? How would the supply chain be impacted?
Yeah, definitely. Supply chain is another next level issue which we'll all have to tackle. And that's where I think, because the first thing which is going to open is manufacturing, right? Because everybody knows that if something is not manufactured, something cannot be shipped, something cannot be exported, something cannot be consumed. Because just by opening retail stores, you cannot have sales, because the supply also has to come in some time, because the pipelines are drying up otherwise, right? So factories will open. So even if the places which will be in LD 100, then we'll have to get into situation which districts are we talking about. Within that districts, which are the hotspots which we are talking about. So I think that's how the authorities are trying to manage it. But yes, there will be disruption. But at the same time, I would strongly, because like I said, we are consultants. We see things from distance. Sometimes we are able to see things very clearly, but sometimes we miss very small details because we are not very close to the business. But we all know that, we always hear this, that inventory is a very big issue in home textiles. So now, gentlemen, let's go ahead and get rid of some of the inventory. Why worry about the production, right? This is the time to maybe clean up our pipelines, right? The inventory which you have fallen in love with and you are carrying on and hoping, maybe you need to give some good offers to the customers and help them buy that. Consider that what is going to happen to the fashion textiles. If in home furnishing or home textiles we are worried about supply chain, what will happen in fashion textiles? Where the season change is a different thing, color change is a different thing, design change is a third thing, sizes are an issue. At least we are in an industry where many of these issues don't exist. Our inventory is more like ephemeral and it continues to be there. I think let's make use of this time that factories have closed down and we still have lots of inventory, and let's once the market's open, we try to sell that.
Well, thank you, Harminder. Another question.
Encourage consumers through a.
Sorry. I think
I'm saying we should encourage consumers by saying that, like it's spring cleaning or Diwali cleaning, let's do this post-COVID cleaning. They should change all the towels, all the bed sheets, all the curtains and upholstery in their house and bring the fresh ones and make it very attractive for them to do that. Give them offers through retailers that they can, or with credit card companies where they can pay through EMI, give them exchange offers. In between, some people were asking for the circular textile. Circular textile primarily we mean a circular economy, where you collect the old one, put it into recycling and sell the new one, so that consumer knows that what they have thrown away is not literally thrown into the dumping grounds. It actually goes into recycling. That's what it means. Bring up those kind of concepts and consumers should be happy.
Wow, that's a lot of ideas. I think a good campaign this Diwali is going to be recycling and coming back or bringing everything out. So another question comes from the US market, from the export scenario. If US is up to full consumption capacity by September 2020, then Christmas for the Christmas orders from India should not be affected. But unfortunately, the orders for Christmas are not yet placed. So what do they do in this scenario?
See, again, Priyanka, when we were talking to all the brands and retailers, they are also, its orders are not placed. We have just gone to a situation where a lot of things are happening in April. But as things smoothen up, you will find orders coming from May itself. So just to give you an example, a lot of fashion players we are talking to, they have started getting orders of, because it's a year where it's a year of election of a president in US. So where there are 5 lakh pieces of t-shirts order where they're saying, we love Trump, not made in China. So similarly, those orders, as retailers come out, they are more clear. We expect for these winters, we will have for Christmas sales, more and more orders coming from May and June. So I think at this time, if you exclude, because these are times where things are uncertain, things are getting slowly visible to people, as it becomes very clear, they will start placing orders immediately.
Thank you. Again, coming back to domestic, curtains and upholstery are sold by touch and feel worldwide and also in India, especially the bespoke furnishing. Ready-made is by and large the lower end market in India. Now, what do you think will change? Is it changing or is it going to be reversing?
Sorry, I missed the first part of the question. Can you repeat?
So the curtains and upholstery are sold by the touch and feel worldwide and also in India, especially the bespoke furnishing.
Right.
And ready-made by and large is the lower end, which is sold in the Indian market.
Right.
Do you see that reversing or changing in the coming months?
No, I don't think so. I think we should not even expect that, right? Because since some other seminar, when we were talking about not home textile, but general consumer segments, let me repeat that example here, that in India, consumers spend money not because they have to spend money, right? They spend money, even if it's for need or whether it's for occasion, they want to enjoy spending the money. It's not like European and US markets where people have shopped too much. Those countries have been over-retailed and people are so now they consider even shopping as a chore, right? Primarily because they have very different societies. Half of the countries are single-person families, but half of the people are many times divorced and remarried, and the values are very, very different. So they see everything as a chore. Only the personal fun or the personal adventure and the personal life is seen as real fun. Rest everything is seen as work. So they consider shopping. But in India, shopping is an occasion. Shopping is an experience. How many people do you guess in India who regularly shop in a modern retail or a mall? The number will not be more than 15-20% of the total population, right? So there is 75, 80, 85% of the population who has not regularly shopped in these places. Like I say, that if somebody visited a mall as they visit Taj Mahal, doesn't mean they are living in Taj Mahal, right? So let's not count those people in. So Indians are still wanting to shop a lot more. There's a stature thing. There's a feeling of affluence which is attached with shopping in a mall or in a store and going by thing and spending money. Because if you think about it, a consumer starts feeling that they have become richer first when they buy a new piece of cloth, a new piece of garment. Because till that time, there are 100 million or maybe more people in India who may have never bought a new piece of cloth in their life. So when they buy, they feel richer. When they build a pakka house, they feel richer. When they buy a motorcycle, they feel richer. Similarly, when they as a family go out to eat in a restaurant, they feel richer because somebody offers them a menu who calls them sir and ma'am. Same is true about shopping. Right? When they go into a modern retail store, touch and feel things, they feel that they have arrived in life because that's a sign of affluence that somebody is treating them as sir and ma'am. right? So there are, and we are talking hundreds of millions of Indian consumers who haven't experienced it. You and I may have experienced it too much and feel that no, but we are not representative of India. Given that, one is the physical retail. Not for that I want to touch and feel the product. Point is that I want to feel the whole experience of shopping, of experience of spending money, experience of spending money in somebody's store and that person feeling obliged that you are spending money with them, right? All of those sentiments are very, very important. And that's why earlier seminar I was saying that the retail, physical retail malls I'm very, very bullish on, even though online will continue to grow, right? Because in India we have various segments which are playing. It will definitely grow. So home furnishing, like I earlier also said, that people spend money on it only very infrequently after many years. When they spend it, they like to spend it. The spending is the key thing. And we sometimes I would say misunderstand that this is to do with touch and feel of that fabric. It is the touch and feel of the shopping experience which is more important, not the touch feel of the fabric piece itself. So I think people will come back to the stores which will be able to offer environment which is safer, or the assurance of that, right? Like I asked this example that richest of people in this country or in the world, they go to 5-star hotels, and just because the 5-star hotel has assured that these towels have been washed properly, we use them, which were being used 3 days ago by some stranger. While at their home, they don't even share the towel with their wife or husband, right? So giving assurance creates exclusivity, creates demand, and give people comfort to come and shop. So stores will do that. Which will do that? They will be able to get the market, they'll get share. People would love to come to the store. Giving people an option that you don't need to come to the store, everything can be delivered at home, will be a reminder of this bad time called lockdown which we are going through. And the brands which will try to do that actually will get negative marks for that. The brands which will show that yes, you can come back to normal and I'll help you come back to the normal life as it used to be, are the ones which will get more business.
Wow. Thank you so much. With this, I think we'll come to our last question. And I really want you to address this because this is taking up from one of your slide. Abhishek says if the market is about to fall by 43%, is it sustainable to be in the same business or should he change? I think you should really address this immediately.
I will address that. So when the market is going to fall by 43%, right? The point is that everybody doesn't have to fall by 43%. That means there will be some people who, when the market will fall by 20-25%, will not have either the competence or the confidence or the capital to stay in the business. They'll go out of the business. Their business will be there for the people who have the courage and confidence capital to take it, right? So not everybody is going to fall by the same percentage. You will have to find your way to stay in the business. And I think whether staying in this business or whether staying in any other business, I think these percentages are almost all across the segments. Car segments is even worse than this. Apparel is slightly maybe better than this. Essentials like domestic consumables may be the best of, but everywhere percentages are bad in this year. So one is that just because of this year, don't plan to leave the industry. Second is that find a way that how you should retain and increase your percentage towards better. And thirdly, be optimistic about it. We are in a very, very aspirational and growing and young country. Whatever may be the situation of the market in this year, if we all survive through it, 21-22 financially will be better than last year, I can assure you. We'll all see that.
With this, may I request all three of you all to give your concluding remarks to the industry and all the participants here.
Yeah.
Harminder, Prashant, yeah, go ahead.
No,
I think I have already given my messages that just tighten your belt, stay optimistic, right? And use this time to come up with creative and new ideas. Like people are talking about different kind of treatments which are there in the questions I was seeing. People are talking about using online channels or not, right? Using your supply chain in a better way, living with thinner inventories, all those things, living with the longer duration in terms of payment cycles coming in, working with tighter working capital. I think all these things are which will come very, very handy going forward. That's what I'll say. Take this time to learn these things, but stay optimistic about the future, because the future is definitely better, going to be much better.
So Harminder, this Diwali, I think, taking your comments, we should all go with the campaign, Purana hai lekin behtar hai, right?
हाँ बिल्कुल, क्यों नहीं, पुराना है नहीं तो सब बदल डालो. We should make people everything, सब बदल डालो. और जो आपका पुराना है वो हम उसको अच्छी तरह से साफ करके ट्रीटमेंट करके उन लोगों को देंगे जो शायद इस दिवाली पे खरीदने की हिम्मत नहीं होगी उनको. के लिए हम रिसाइकिल करके उनको देंगे, कुछ ऐसा ही करेंगे कि मिल बांट के ही चलेगा, तभी हो पाएगा ये.
Thank you. Let's sail this together. Prashant, over to you.
Yeah, what I would say that, you know, the last question, Priyanka, you asked, where Harminder has in detailed answered it. We have to really understand that these are the times, if you see in the slides that we have presented, how this 40% is coming, because there are 3-4 months where sale is almost 15-20% only, while other months sale is actually going up fast. So keeping this in mind, one has to see, and all of us are in the same boat. It's not that one company or the other, everybody is suffering during these times of lockdown globally, not only in India. So first thing we have to understand that everybody is going through same phase. So we can come out of it. We'll all come out of it together. And now when we come out of it, how we have to react, what we have to do. And that's why we have mentioned some of the important points. What are the way forward? So but first the mindset of everybody's in together and we'll all come out of it is the first step. Second is, once that is clear, we leave it behind and then say what next. And if these two things are combined together, I think in this area where India is known globally, we'll come out winner. That's what I feel.
Thank you. Varun, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Priyanka. So the point here is that, again, the last question we were talking about, that it is a kind of a dismal scenario. We are saying that 35% down, 45% down, we are going to be there. So everybody should first of all understand that not everybody grows or declines at the same pace. When a country grew by 20%, 30%, not everybody grew. There were people who were laggards, people who were going better than average. So our focus should be to be better than the average first of all. So a lot of, we have discussed a lot of time. I think one of the very important point which needs more emphasis is on the productivity improvement aspect, right? So we are strong in very good core categories. We have a lot of manufacturers from across the country. So it is very important to understand that, trying to say that, okay, fine, I have this kind of productivity, I have this kind of a manufacturing competitiveness, and I'll try to sell more. That's not going to happen, right? The situation is changing. If you want to be better than average, if market is falling by 40%, you maybe arrest your fall at maybe 10%. How does it happen? It happens when you are more competitive than others. So people also have to look inwards rather than waiting for consumers to come and shop or exporters, buyers placing an order. You have also to have your internal productivity and efficiency improved. So productivity, efficiency, systems, manufacturing excellence is going to be the key for survival in the long term. So that's how you can also say that you are far better than the market averages, and that's how you will create an excellence for yourself. I think that's my message for the entire industry.
Thank you, Varun. Thank you, Prashant. Thank you, Harminder. That was a fantastic session. On behalf of Messe Frankfurt, I thank you all for sharing your insights with us and the industry. And we look forward to see you all soon in one of our exhibitions.
Thanks, Priyanka. Thanks, Messe Frankfurt. And thanks all the panelists who have stayed to listen to us. And let's hope that they are able to build businesses better and better.
Yes, let's sail through it together.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.